You're watching Auto Johnny.
Sup internet, I'm Auto Johnny and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. It's the series where I talk about upcoming movies, TV series, the history of production, how they're made, along with movie news and comics. Then I break them down to make them easy to follow and give you my personal thoughts. This Let's Talk About has been a long time coming, because today we're going to be talking about Superman. Now, I had my eye on this film for a very long time. In fact, this is probably one of my most anticipated movies of 2025. There's a lot going for this film and a lot riding on it too. Because not only is this the first solo Superman movie that we had in over 10 years, but it's also the beginning of the DCU and the first film of Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. But I feel this film can meet up to those expectations. But before we hop into the video, I want to clear things up. Since I took my impromptu break, much more information has come up to talk about this film. So much that I can't contain it in one video. So this will be part 1 of a 2-part video about this film. So with that said, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Let's Talk About Superman, part 1. This movie started in 2022 with the merger of Discovery and Warner Brothers to become Warner Brothers Discovery, with David Zaslav taking over. And while Zaslav is not popular with many people, myself included, he was right about how the DCEU had a lack of cohesion and, more importantly, let their other superheroes like Superman be left to languish and become irrelevant. So when former DC Films president Walter Hamada left, it was announced that James Gunn and Peter Safran became DC Studios co-CEOs, and the two would start working on what would eventually become the new DCU, a soft reboot of DC's cinematic universe.
Meanwhile,
Black Adam came out and teased, then later confirmed the return of Henry Cavill as the Man of Steel. There was even the possibility of Man of Steel 2 being back on the plate, but on December 17th of 2022, it was announced that Henry Cavill will not be returning as the Man of Steel. Though Gunn and Safran reassured us that they were discussing something else in the possible future and probably something different for Cavill. But James Gunn did reassure that Superman will not only be a huge priority, but he is writing the script, which he's been working on since August of 2022. Also stated that this film will be focusing on a younger Superman, but is not going to be an origin story. Then on January 31st, 2023, James Gunn announced the first slate of the DCU projects called Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, officially announced a Superman legacy, which was being written and directed by him. And as for inspirations, James Gunn has stated he drew inspiration from the following: All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison, Superman Birthright by Mark Waid, Superman Brainiac by Jeff Johns, Superman Ending Battles, Superman for All Seasons, and Kingdom Come. Then on April 18th, 2023, James Gunn announced on social media that Superman's legacy script was complete. Then pretty soon we will get rumblings of the cast. Now initially for Superman we had Nicholas Hoult, who's also contended for Lex Luthor, Andrew Richardson, and Tom Brittney. And as for Lois Lane, we got Emma Mackley, Samara Weaving, and Phoebe Driver. But eventually we would get the official cast. First, we got Superman, played by David Corenswet, who was also a frontrunner and my personal pick for the character, so yeah. Then we got Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan. We got Green Lantern Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion. Mr. Terrific, played by Eddie Gatsby. Hawkgirl, played by Isabella Marced. Metamorpho, played by Anthony Carrigan. Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult. The Engineer, played by Maria Gabrielle De Farna. Eve Tessmacher, played by Sarah Sampirio. Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisanda. Perry White, played by Wendell Pierce. Jonathan Kent, aka Pa Kent, played by Pruitt Taylor Vince. Then there's Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Easy there, Batman. Easy. Anyways, Martha Kent, aka Ma Kent, played by Neva Howell. Cat Grant, played by Michaela Hoover. Man, these are a lot of names. Okay. Ron Thorpe, played by Christopher McDonald. Then we got Frank Grillo reprising his role as Rick Flag Sr. from the animated DCU series Future Commandos. Steve Lombard, played by Beck Bennett. Maxwell Lord, played by Sean Gunn. Supergirl, aka Superman's cousin, played by Billy Alcock. Otis, Lexus Hedgeman, played by Terrence Rossmore. And a cameo from Will Reeves, the son of Christopher Reeves. That's not also including Crypto the Superdog, along with Alan Tudyk, Michael Rooker, and Grace Chan voicing the Kryptonian robots 4, 5, and 12. Sergio Duki, Fahim Fazi, Hayam Jarafi, Xavier Maxon, and Jerry B. Harry, all playing a mix of a Daily Planet reporter, Jarpurian villagers, and a Jarpurian leader. And for those who don't know what Jarpur is, well, in the comics, it's an ancient secluded land in DC Comics. But I believe in the movie, it is a fictional nation. Then there's also the characters we know very little about, like the Hammer of Bavaria. Bavaria is also another fictional nation in this movie. And the now confirmed Ultraman. And I've seen some theories about these two, which I will share in the next part. Now, this film was supposed to start filming in January of 2024, but it was delayed due to the SAG-AFTRA strikes. But once the strikes ended, production for Superman Legacy would officially begin. And during this time, we actually got our first look at Superman's crest, thanks to Isabella Merced taking a photo of her name tag for the script reading, in which, if you're a big comic book fan, you will recognize that Superman's crest is the one that he uses in Kingdom Come. Then, principal photography will begin on February 9th, 2024 in Scala Brad, which is coincidentally Superman's birthday. And we would also get the information that the title of the film will be changed from Superman Legacy to just Superman. Filming would begin on April 1st of 2024, and while they were filming on May 6, 2024, we got our first look at David Corenswet as Superman. Now, when this first image came out, it was pretty controversial. Me personally, when I first saw this suit, I had my reservations. The suit was kind of baggy, it was kind of hard to see due to the lighting, but I do like the return of the red trunks. Also, I like the pose. It's basically saying he puts on his boot 1 foot at a time, just like the rest of us. Also, what is that in the background? I mean, it looks cool, but it's just standing there menacingly. Getting back on track, they would start filming in downtown Cleveland, where it would be the stand-in for Metropolis. This would include the Public Square, Progressive Fields, the Detroit Superior Bridge, and Mentor Highland Beach State Park, with the Leader building also being the stand-in for the Daily Planet. And can I just take a moment to talk a little bit more about these set photos? Like Superman, for instance. Now, when I saw this suit in action, it pretty much washed away all my reservation. So while the suit is a little baggy, it's overall pretty good. I also like seeing him as Clark Kent. Like, if you put these two side by side, you would have a hard time believing that they are the same person. And then there's all the characters, which look great so far, like the Engineer, Lois, Lex, Guy, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific especially, and all the Daily Planet crew and the rest. Then filming would move to Cincinnati, where they would start filming at Cincinnati Union Station. And if this building looks familiar, that's because it is the inspiration for the Hall of Justice, which means we'll probably be seeing it in this movie. And eventually filming would wrap up in July of 2024. As for the VFX, they will be done by Weta, Framestore, and ILM. Now, according to James Gunn, he chose to have the VFX done a year in advance, so he can not only give the VFX team extra time, but also they will produce better work. Because according to James Gunn, if you do some research, you'll see my films have always taken a different approach, and I've given my VFX artist collaborators time to do their jobs properly and the respect they deserve. And the quality of the VFX in those films is uniformly because of it, and because my friends at Weta and Framestore and ILM and more are amazingly talented. We would often get some news here and there, like on October 19th of 2024, to celebrate Adopt a Shelter Dog Day, we got our first look at Crypto, who James Gunn based on his own dog Ozu, as he described Crypto in this movie as a not so good boy. Then on December 16th of 2024, we got a motion poster not only paying homage to Christopher Reeves, but also in the background playing a softer version of the Superman theme. Then on December 19th, we got our first teaser trailer. Now when I first saw this teaser trailer, and I still watch it to this day, I think it's a really good trailer. I like this bold start with Superman being defeated, as one of the major criticisms to Superman is that Superman is too powerful, he never is beaten, and that's why he's boring. Well, also it shows the gravity of the situation, because who could be strong enough to even hurt Superman? Rachel Brosnahan looks great as Lois, and Nicholas Hoult looks like a powerful Lex Luthor. Plus, this trailer has a sense of hope and wonder, making it a great way to capture the tone of this Superman movie. The music will be done by John Murphy, who composed not only the Suicide Squad, but the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and Volume 3. The film would also include a rescore of John Williams' Superman theme, which is such a perfect theme for the character and fits well in this movie that I can think of no better way to end out Part 1. Now the film will start its marketing in February 2025. Now the plan was that they were going to do the same marketing tactics as they did with Barbie, but outside of some photos here and there, things were pretty much quiet. That was until March 11th of 2025, where they announced that footage would be expected at CinemaCon on April 1st. Then when April 1st came around, Warner Bros. Would showcase extended footage and behind the scene footage of Superman at CinemaCon. The extended footage would be available publicly at first in front of the Minecraft movie and then online. Now the footage would start off like the previous teaser trailer, with Superman crashing into the crater, where he would call Crypto afterwards. And oh, look at Crypto, he's such a... Ooh, ow, ow, Crypto. Okay, I mean, I get it, it's funny, and Crypto as a dog probably thinks that Superman is pretty much playing right now, so which is why he's finally like that. And between this and a later clip featuring Crypto nipping at Superman's heels, yeah, I can definitely see how Crypto is not a good boy. But who can say mad at this puppy? Aw, look at him, I want to give him all the pets. Anyways, Crypto drags Superman to the Fortress of Solitude, which still looks cool by the way. Then Superman's robots pick him up and put Supes in a stretcher, I think, and fire a device that shoots focused sunlight at Supes, allowing him to heal. And this healing process was pretty painful, by the way. Then we get a montage of moments from the first teaser trailer. Overall, it looks pretty good. The same goes for the behind the scenes footage, which released 2 weeks later on Superman Day. Now I find this video in particular very interesting because I like the behind the scenes stuff. After all, this is what this show is about. You also get to see how they depict Superman's hope and how they depict him as a good man. What's also interesting is that we get a glimpse of the practical effects that they're using for the Superman robots and our first look at Metamorpho. Then on May 14th, 2025, we got the official trailer. Now I made a short video discussing my initial thoughts on this trailer a while back, and even now I still love this trailer. I love the whole interview setup at the beginning. It really shows Lois and Clark's dynamic. For one thing, it confirms that Clark and Lois are in a relationship and that Lois knows that Clark is Superman. It also shows some conflict in their relationship through this interview, as Lois is uncompromised in her journalism and is willing to grill Clark, while as Clark, who is in love with her, can't help but feel that this is too personal for him when she questions him which is why he gets so frustrated in this trailer. As a result, we get these reactions.
This is how you're gonna be?
I'm not the one being interviewed, Superman. Did you consult with the president?
No.
You seemingly acting as a representative of
I
the
wasn't
United States
representing
will
anybody
cause more
except for me
problems around the world.
and doing good.
I would question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
I also want to look at this reaction a bit more, because to me, it's not just Clark getting frustrated at Lois. It shows that Clark doesn't really care about sides. All he cares about is that people are going to die. To me, this shows that he really cares about doing the right thing, and it comes off as so pure in his intentions. I still love that scene where that citizen helps Soups out of that crater, as well as that next scene, because oh my god, Soups actually has a personality.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Then there's the scenes where Lex and his goons break into the Fortress of Solitude, which is pretty cool. And Crypto attacking the engineer is great every time. However, I would like to expand that whole scene with Martha, because when I first saw the original trailer, I thought Martha was going to be dead. After all, we didn't see her, and I'm so glad that I was wrong. Also, it's great to see Pa Kent alive and well, since in most film adaptation, Pa is dead. Also, on multiple viewings, I've noticed that when Soups is in the cell with Metamorpho, you can see that Metamorpho's hand is glowing. Now in the comics, he has the power to transform his body into a range of different elements, which includes solid, liquids, and gas. So to me, and what's later confirmed in a TV spot, is that he is able to turn his hand into kryptonite, and thus explains why these guys are able to capture and beat up Superman. Also, on a side note, Metamorpho looks really cool in this trailer. Also, throughout this trailer, Lex keeps on showing moments on how he is Superman's biggest hater. But either way, this is pretty much a really good trailer. In fact, I would consider this one of the best trailers. Or at least it was until we got a new trailer on June 11th. And hey, look at that. I made another short talking about this trailer as well. And yeah, I consider it one of the best of the new Superman trailers. First of all, it's epic. The opening start with Lex's speech pretty much confirms him as Superman's biggest hater. Then the rest of the trailer shows Superman being awesome, like when he punches that one dude and you see his teeth come flying out and actually bounce off the screen, or when he uses his heat vision to spin around against these guys, which thanks to the children's book Superman Friends and Foe, yes really, they are called Raptors, and to quote, Lex uses his highly advanced soldiers called Raptors to fight Superman and advance his criminal schemes. And watching this multiple times, you can also see some hidden details, like you see Crypto in the fight with the Raptors, or when Superman is in that void being saved by Metamorpho's tendrils. At the same time, you can actually see Soups holding a baby, which once again, thanks to Superman Friends and Foes, is Metamorpho's son, baby Joey, which is why I'm 99% sure why Metamorpho is harming Superman with his kryptonite hand. We also see Lois and the Daily Planet team on a flying ship, which might be Mr. Terrific's, and I'm only saying that because we've seen this ship in other trailers with Mr. Terrific alongside it. Speaking of, I realize I haven't really talked much about Mr. Terrific, and that's only because I'm not really familiar with his character. Like, I know a few things, like he's super smart and is great with technology, but he looks pretty cool, and I'm curious how he fits into this film. Either way, this trailer looks great, and it both looks stunning and beautiful, and once again, it's epic. And that's also probably thanks to the music. The only thing I dislike is that it looks like Superman might have visible markings from his heat vision, which I think is a little too much, but it doesn't stop this from pretty much being the best trailer. Then after this trailer and the tickets went on sale, we were now in full swing into promotion. I'm talking TV spots, posters, interviews, clips from the film, and a 30-minute screening of the movie all over the world under the Superman World Tour. And that's all the information for now, although I'm pretty sure there's going to be more. because this is a lot of information. And hell, I already had to update this video, which is why part 2 is taking so long. So let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Alright, with that said, let's get on to my theories. Now,
Controversy.
oh hey,
Controversy.
I haven't heard this since episode 3.
Controversy.
Do I really have to talk about it?
Controversy.
Okay, let's do this. So this film has received some pushback, some from the usual grifters, but the one that I found the most loud and annoying is the Snyder Cult. So, what's the Snyder Cult? Well, let's back it up to 2017 to the release the Snyder Cut movement, a fan campaign to release Zack Snyder's original cut of Justice League, as he had stepped down due to a family tragedy. Now, if you weren't around, it was a huge movement, and eventually in 2021, the film will be released on HBO Max. Needless to say, this movement was a huge success. However, give a mouse a cookie and they'll ask for a glass of milk, because soon release the Snyder Cut turned into Restore the Snyderverse. And once Warner Brothers showed signs they were going to a different direction, and that will eventually become James Gunn being the head of the new DCU, things started to turn very toxic, and thus the Snyder Cult was born. And they've been going out of their way to basically shit on James Gunn, the DCU, the Superman movie, and David Cornsweet, to the point where they're not only being loud, but they're also delusional. Like, they don't like Supes getting upset,
People were going to die!
they don't like Supes cracking jokes,
Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around, I'm doing important stuff.
and they basically just don't like anything about this new Superman. They just want Henry Cavill and Daddy Zack. Now listen, I have no problems against Zack Snyder or Henry Cavill. In fact, I do feel that Henry Cavill was done dirty, but this is getting ridiculous. First of all, the DCEU failed and we're moving on. Secondly, while Henry is a great actor and was a great choice, the problem was that he didn't play Superman. Superman is hopeful, kind, and a beacon of hope, while the DCEU version was dark, solemn, questioning, saving people, which is fine for any other character, but this isn't Superman. But the Snyder Cult believe steadfast that that is Superman, unaware that everything they criticize is Superman. But they're so attached to this version of the character that they cannot accept any other version, which in the end just shows the Snyder Cult is not only sad, but also annoying. Bottom line is, the Snyder Cult just sucks. Anyways, on to something more positive. Now that we've finished the recap of the news, and not only that I have looked into online discussions and forums about this film, but I have developed some theories about the movie, starting with theory number 1. Based on recent information, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and Hawkgirl are part of a group basically known as the Justice Gang. Man, that's a stupid name. Either way, the Justice Gang is funded by Lord Tech, and with Superman being arrested by Rick Flag Sr. and the Engineer for interfering in the war with Bavaria, to the projects in Chapter 1, unlike Creature Commandos, Waller, Peacemaker Season 2, and The Authority, which by the way, The Authority is pretty much about screw corporate and government funded super teams. We are going to create our own team, and we answer to no one because we are the highest authority. I believe in this DCU, the superheroes are either government funded or corporate sponsored, and some like Superman aren't, which complements my next theory. Theory number 2, I feel like this story might be a reverse Kingdom Come. For those who aren't familiar, Kingdom Come, written by Mark Waid and illustrated by Alex Ross, tells the story of heroes like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League all retire, leaving it to the next generations. However, the next generation screw things up as they're reckless, selfish, and violent. So, in order, slightly jaded Superman comes out of retirement to show it what it means to be a hero. Now, the reverse of that will be the older generation instead, and they are all corporate owned or government funded and seemingly not well liked. So in comes a younger, optimistic Superman to show them what it means to be a hero. Theory number 3. There's a whole bunch of speculation on the identity of Ultraman, and the theory that I subscribe to is the one where Ultraman is pretty much a clone of Superman who is designed to beat him up, except the clone would degrade and later become Bizarro. Then there's also theory number 4, the identity of the Hammer of Baravia, which thanks to this Twitter user who tweeted out this theory, which makes a lot of sense, is that the Hammer of Baravia is actually Supergirl. The theory goes is that Lex found her first and made her into a weapon by locking her in the armor. And this theory makes a lot of sense to me because she is in the movie, as I pointed out in part 1, but we haven't really seen her. Plus, the hammer is not actually from the comics. Secondly, the hammer is shown to be able to fly, use heat vision, and furthermore, James Gunn has a history of pulling twists like this before, but I guess we'll wait and see when the movie comes out. With that said, Superman flies into theaters July 11, 2025.
They've always been wrong about me. I get scared, but that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
And that's everything for Superman. Let me know what you think about this Superman movie, and if you're hyped, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. Until next time, I'm Otto Johnny, and end transmission.